There's something irresistible about the Saints on this ground, especially on a Saturday night. They've had some victims. Geelong found out about that not too long ago, and if they bring their pressure, they'll bring their pace, and who knows what they might do to the Western Bulldogs tonight. The Dogs, of course, also love playing here. It makes for a sensational game. Captain's about to meet in the middle, Nick Revolt and Easton Wood, and then we're going to get into the action. Jason Dunstall, David King, and Jared Healy with me as well. Jared, what a game this should be.
Should be a beauty. Saw the Saints last week, Hutto. They were superb. Their pressure is at the very top end of the competition, and you can see there the winning sequences. Yeah,
the last 6 matches the Saints here, and the Bulldogs 16 of the last 20. And we've seen various sides, Collingwood an example last night, Melbourne the week before, who struggle here. But if you've got the right sort of sides that can play the right sort of footy on this ground, David King, they can flourish. But you've got 2 teams tonight who can do it, so it's going to be fascinating.
Look at the reason why the Saints have won the last 6 here. It says centre bounce work. Huge night tonight for Tom Hickey, the ruckman for the Saints. Can he get first use to that smaller brigade that you just excite from stoppages? Can he get it to Jack Stephen, and can they go at speed? If they can dominate centre bounce clearances and get good deep entries, which they generally get when number 3 gets his hands on the ball, I think they can go a long way to challenging the Dogs. If they can't win centre bounces, the ball will be locked in that dog forward line and they'll find it hard to score. Big responsibility for that man, number 1, Tom Hickey, to get his hand on the ball.
He's having a fine year, David, and was really good against high-quality ruck opposition last week. Up forward, they've got the 3 talls. If Riewoldt plays there, we know he's played a lot of the season down on the wing, but I suspect they're going to try and stretch the Bulldogs' defence, and you'll have your Bruce and Membry and Riewoldt. Young Gresham's been a star down there. The Billings is back in the side, so they've got a pretty balanced side. The Western Bulldogs, they have got just a host of great midfielders, none better than the Bont. But Libba back into the side tonight, and looking forward to him getting his hands on the ball many times.
So we're ready to get it on at Etihad Stadium. St Kilda and the Western Bulldogs. Tight wins today to Sydney, and the West Coast Eagles make a victory more imperative for the Dogs. And the Saints, of course, if they've got any thoughts of September, need to win. Free kick going the way of the Saints. And what an outstanding player Jack Stephen has been this year. Just tugged it a little to the left. He gave Redpath a little bit of a look, but no damage done. And good play by Robertson. The kick wasn't perfect for Hickey, but Stephen following up was able to send them deep. They've got the tall forwards, and one of them is Membry, and he's been in incredible form, and he loves playing here.
Well, it's been an extraordinary season from Tim Membry, Jared. He just seems to be kicking 4 or 5 goals a week now.
Well, last week he was superb. Hit the post a couple of times as well. Still got a bag, and what a great start by the Saints. Won the centre clearance, got it into the hands of Stevens. Just a long bomb to a very hot spot, and they've got multiple targets down there, and we'll see what happens at the other end of the ground with young Boyd coming back for his 2nd game.
What a start for the Saints. It's taken barely a minute, and they have the first. As Membry slots it through, he's played 15 games at Etihad for 36 goals.
Yeah, almost 2.5 goals a game, and the one thing that's great about his play is that once he gets the ball, he's a very, very good set shot. You can just see him here moving around now. He gets Matty Boyd as an opponent. Matty Boyd, not strong in the air. Mind you, you don't expect Membry to be taking pack marks, but the rest of the pack actually misjudged the flight of the ball. It ended up being a 1-on-1 between Boyd and Membry, and Boyd got underneath the ball.
Another interesting element was Billings, just at the back, had no direct opponent. They're playing very much a zonal defence. But here's the Membry form, and those green numbers are pretty impressive.
He wasn't even in the team early in the year when these 2 sides met. The Dogs won by 57 points that time back in round 2. And stealing the march again is Dunstan, and the tall forward got the appetite again. Bruce didn't quite get there, well as the other man who can score for the Saints. Oh, what an intersection that was. They went crunching into each other.
Weller and McRae.
It's come off second best.
He's copped it in the face, Matt Weller. I think he's copped the body in the face. He's got blood.
Oh,
yep.
Blood pouring out.
Yep. That's just 2 players looking at the footy, going hell for leather. And unfortunately, he was wide open. It looks like he's got a cut under the chin. just see he's got the eyes on the footy, as has Jack McRae, and it's just his head has hit the chin of Mav Weller. That's the problem. They're both going for the ball. That's a solid clash.
You wince just watching the don't you, sometimes when you see that sort of stuff. Mav Weller up and looks pretty good considering at this stage. The free kick paid, the handball off to Savage. It takes a big kick. We know he's capable, but this time wasn't online.
Well, if you're going to do it, they did it okay, but the handball has to be in front. You don't have to, or shouldn't have to break your stride.
It was actually so far back on the run back, wasn't it? Made the task even more difficult. Dixon flew but didn't mark. McRae's hands quick as always, but didn't really clear the congestion, and still they haven't. They've come with the press of the Saints. Right, big wraparound tackle. Hunter, prolific as always, winning lots of the footy.
Another poor handball.
Revolt, Geary, who's a leader out of defence. Montagna. So it wasn't perfect for the Saints, but they've got out okay. Robertson, and now Nunes as they start to build.
I think we've got the good Saints, David. The pressure's certainly there.
Definitely got the good side.
And Wright gets it to Sinclair. They're attacking again. Billings, build up great. Finish. Not quite from Bruce.
Yeah, that was a perfect handball because it made him come back onto his left foot and he didn't have to break stride. Poor shot in the finish, but a great handball. Hit it to the space, onto his left. Excellent work.
Hasn't quite come together for Josh Bruce this year, as you see.
Yeah, Mav Weller just getting patched up on the boundary line. Suspect he'll be out again soon. He's gone, 50 metres. I was about to say I thought he went over the line, but the player marking the goal square's got him too close, giving away 50 metres. It is a frenetic pace early. There's no slow football here. Both teams play on at every opportunity. They don't mind using the corridor.
Still to go inside forward 50, though, the Dogs. The Saints have been there 3 times. They look dangerous.
Morris has Dunkley on offer. 27 disposals last week from young Josh Dunkley. Takes it wide from McRae. The quick turn onto the left and the sharp pass was excellent. And Clay Smith, who kicked 3 goals 4 last week. Seemingly an unlikely path to goal, but he's got into the right spot again.
Slow and precise ball movement there by the Dogs. And I think the better way to attack the Saints is to play a mark kick game of football rather than a high handball game, which is the normal Western Bulldogs game. So we'll see how that unfolds.
Smith comes shuffling in and gives it plenty. He likes the strike.
Good effort.
And you can see why. So a goal to each side after 5.5. And the Saints leading by virtue of a couple of extra behinds.
Yeah, well, we see this build-up. It's just reasonably longish passes and then a really dangerous kick inside. And I think the Western Bulldogs, the Saints do well against sides of high possession sides like Melbourne last week.
Does it play into their hands a bit?
It does. It plays into the swarm. If the swarm's on, they can upset the high possession players and teams. And yet, if you take a look at the way that passage of play unfolded, long kicks, it makes the swarm spread, and it's a way you can find holes.
They brought their tackling pressure, as you can see. St Kilda 6-1 at this very early stage. Boyd having a run in the ruck, got it down, but there's no clean escape out of the middle. Instead, it's Stevens seeing the Dogs forward marginally. Ling Jong, good follow-up work. There's a scuffle on back in the middle of the ground.
You can see the Dogs have only had 2 handballs so far. That's not their game. They want to be a high handball team, particularly from these stoppages here.
Revolt tries his best. Caleb Daniel. Hunter, not much on it. Liberatore back in the team. Back to Stevens again. So they're inching their way forward. Hunter to full forward. Was he dragged down? Red path he was.
Normally about 1-for-1 kicks to handballs, the Western Bulldogs. Right now they're tending to go more with the kick, and again it was just 1 handball from the stoppage, then a kick into some pressure, and Redpath, well, that was just a gift in the finish.
Well, he's just too strong, held front position. Gilbert lost his balance, knew he was out of the contest, and just dragged him down.
Kicked 1-4 last week, Jack Redpath. 19-10 for the season. Of course, no Jake Stringer tonight makes his role even more important on a big Saturday night at Etihad, as the Dogs take the lead in less than convincing fashion, but a goal nonetheless.
That was a good start. A good start for Jack Redpath, and he needs to get his confidence up. Just some good one-on-one contesting. You can see him at the bottom of the screen. So Gilbert's got back position. He's got the arms around, and it basically just gets himself in a bit of a mess. Sam Gilbert gets his feet tied up on the back of Redpath's legs and really takes himself out of the contest. So Bontempelli playing quite a bit forward. It's going to be important that they get the matchup right there. It looks like Dempster, when he goes forward, is going to have the job on him.
He's probably not a bad player for him.
I think it's a good matchup.
There's Redpath and Gilbert. The Bont is the deepest, closest to goal as we start. Back in the middle one more time. Roughhead got the tap down, and then he got tapped down himself into the turf. Revolt's effort was smothered by Walsh. Good counter came from Geary. They dig it up. Sinclair tackling almost before he got there. In fact, he was holding without the ball, the umpire said.
Just interesting looking at the work that Redpath is doing off the ball. He's running up the ground, back to the ground, and trying to work Gilbert into some space. He's putting blocks on for people.
A few blocks going on there as Hunter kicks in the Bontempelli direction. Roughhead was also one of the taller targets. Geary clever with a tap back. Savage couldn't get on the end of it cleanly.
Well, I think the interesting thing from a St Kilda perspective is they don't have true key defenders. So Gilbert's playing on Redpath. You've got Roberton playing on Boyd, who's not a key defender. So they don't really have the big, bulky size key defenders to do that job.
And that has hurt them a few times this year, on the road at least.
Well, at different stages, they've played Luke Delaney back there, but he finds himself out of the lineup. So they're going to try and be more mobile, but it means that a couple of players have to play tall and have to play bigger than they actually are.
Savage has had an excellent season, returning to the lineup, averaging 21 disposals, career best for the former Hawk. Roughhead looked likely. Akers with the handball, not doing any favours for Wright. His follow-up work was better. Ross, that's better into the space. Gresham's impressed us so much. He's confident for a young man in his first season. Maybe a fraction overconfident there. No damage done yet. Robertson, the handball. And they've skated a fine line there, the Saints, but they've got all the way across half-back. And Revolt's kick also just misses the mark, but no damage.
So that was just great footy, both by St Kilda, because they maintained possession, but also the rugby union-like grid of defenders that came at them from the Western Bulldogs would make both those men happy on screen.
It was across the line, wasn't it?
It was.
Hickey. Kobe Stevens is part of this very deep Western Bulldogs midfield. Hunter had his kick squashed. And the pressure grows.
I think what we are noticing, boys, is the Dogs are trying to get the ball on the boot. They're not inviting the tackle pressure. The Saints swarm. They're not handballing out of these toppers at the moment. They're trying to get some territory, get some yardage.
Hickey and Tom Boyd this time in the rectangle. Hickey in front. Ling Jong. No free kick. Stephen, now they call for holding the ball. And you heard the explanation.
Dale Morris, one of the generals, just orchestrating the structure of their defence behind the ball.
Bit of a stalemate. Not any longer. Ray says holding the ball. Smith sent the Dogs cleanly to Dixon at half forward, and he had lots of options flying past. Stevens kicks them inside, a little sloppy. Liberatore made it look pretty good as he worked the arc across to Dixon. We know he's a maestro around the goals. What a kick.
Just a magnificent passage of play by the Western Bulldogs. There was one average kick in the middle of it, but it was made up for a magnificent conversion by Tory Dixon, who got involved twice. And then around the corner, Jason, that's when you kick those ones around the corner. It was a cracking goal.
But that's not something you teach or coach, Jared. That's an innate goal sense that you either have or you don't have. And Tory Dixon's always had that.
Jesus, a gather and then a kick. Magnificent goal.
He's been prepared to push up the ground a bit of late. Had 17 and 20 disposals in his last couple of weeks. Only 2 goals in the past 4 games, but we know that's where he does his most damage.
And in the blink of an eye, the Dogs have kicked 3.
They have. And the challenge goes back to the Saints. And they've got a little look at the footy here. Nunes, Stephen breaking from out of the congestion, driving them forward. Well represented, both teams. 2-on-2, Revolt not quite. The backup arrives. Morris with a steady hand. Hunter, and they can work the handball this time. Bontempelli shuffled through the choices, didn't like any of them. Left foot instead. Robertson to spoil or mark. Mark.
Good body work, ignored the inside kick. That's not 15, but the umpire was being generous.
He was, and out to Stephen, who has Nunes working on the inside, and he uses him. Approaches the 50. It's direct line to full forward and to Revolt. He looked likely at the back. Weller has recovered. Obviously, nothing like a goal for a tonic to make you feel better. We're back to 4 points.
Well, good passage of play that time by the Saints. They won the centre bounce, they got territory, and they maintained their attack on the ball. And eventually, this one probably should have been a mark to Nick Riewoldt. It was a good kick, but at the back of the pack, Ryan Smith would be filthy on that. The defensive coach for the Western Bulldogs, that they were exposed at the back. They needed to have somebody covering Mav Weller, who continues his fine season at the Saints.
It's been a good start, though.
Beauty, isn't it?
This game is going at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and they're both hard at it.
Been a fine player for them last year in this, Mav Weller. 21 goals now for the season. And 4 players over that mark for the Saints. They've got some firepower up forward. Armitage digs in hard.
I think the Gold Coast will take him back at it.
I think they would. Dunstan stripped of it. Look at the instant play on. And the Dogs out wide with Picken waiting for a lead. Smith offers, so too Redpath. Wallace, Geary over the top. Smith again. And he was able to somehow reel it in. And then he ran into Saints galore. Robertson as they run the gauntlet across the last line. Montagna goes for well. It's not going to be easy against 2 taller Dogs. He did well. He kept his feet and won the footy. And a second time the handball not good for John, but he returns the favour. And the Saints through the Dunstan or Bruce, maybe. Caleb Daniel.
Well, this is a high-pressure match, and both sides are giving the ball back occasionally, but the group pressure has been superb.
Comes down to Dunkley, the handball out, and he goes again. Suckling, been an excellent pick-up for them. Fashions some sort of kick inside. Wholehearted effort as always by Dempster. An old-fashioned defender taking it to the line. Under the confines of the modern interpretation, gets it out. As Redpath wanders back towards goal. We've almost reached the midpoint of a frantic opening term at Etihad Stadium. Gresham, Dunkley getting busy. Screwed the kick back and not paid to Geary.
Must have hit the ground. Umpire in a good position.
Considered one of the real leaders down there at St Kilda now, Jaron Geary, 28 years of age. Boyd, here's Dempster. Weller, right up the ground. Decided, even though he was in the congestion, to handball, such as their modus of operandi. And they go off half-back McKenzie for Akers. It was a tough handball, and the odds were against Biggs. And now they can work. Easton Wood eventually found the footy and escaped from the lunging Armitage. And Smith,
he's done well both times, Geary. He's fought for front position. That's what's won him the contests.
Billings and the control of the ball with Robertson.
It was high risk, the Saints, when they just took off, handballed in traffic and wanted to play on, but when it comes off, it looks amazing.
Oh, that was not so amazing.
Well, we know they're going to make mistakes, but they're going to take the game on, and that's silly from Joey Montagna to do that.
266 games of experience. You would think you'd know better after we saw it a couple of weeks ago here with Reece Conker.
Yep. Just can't afford to gift goals like that to the opposition.
What are we going to see here from that Suckling kick, guys?
It's interesting. He looks like he's going to go a boomerang, exactly right. I have no idea why you wouldn't kick a drop punt from there.
Well, maybe that's right.
Interesting looking at the boundary throw is they're really concerned about the Bont and the third man up. There he is, the big Bont. And if you look at David Armitage, here's the Bont, and there's David Armitage. Have a look at the work he does to come across, get inside, and block him from getting up on that third man up. Could have done it even better. It's something that they need to address. He's an even tighter version. You can see Armitage, he knows he's coming, but he's got to step inside. and make sure he doesn't get that long arm up.
The danger is giving away a free kick doing that, isn't it? So the Bulldogs edge away again to a 10-point advantage that was too easily won. Frustration for the coach of the Saints, Alan Richardson, when one of your most senior men gives away a 50. Such are the frustrations of sport, though. Out of the middle, let's see if Ross and the Saints band in there can respond. Not yet. Ruffett, good work. Dunstan doing the hard stuff, but the Dogs come again. McRae in the exit off the back of the square. Biggs, what a find he's been. Boyd, drifted half back, just chiseled the little ball out wide for Wallace. He's prepared to wait the uncomfortable moment or two to take the mark. Sends it low to half forward.
Just getting on top of the clearances around the ground in particular. Saints a minor advantage centre bounces, but around the ground it's 8-5 the Dogs.
First-year player Dunkley continues to impress. 6 disposals for the son of Andrew Dunkley, who the Swans decided not to take in the draft. Biggs back into the heart of Etihad. Morris goes all the way to Suckling. Contest for body. Dunkley not quite. Dempster for company. Geary gets mown down. McKenzie as they're close to the line.
Kingy, it's quite interesting just having a look at the ratio kicks to marks, sorry, kicks to handballs for the Western Bulldogs. It's probably the lowest or the highest they've ever been for the whole year. Normally about 1-to-1 at the moment. It's 56 kicks to 30 handballs.
And you wonder whether they're worried about the Saints' pressure. Maybe slow the game down. A lot of short kicking and quick kicking from stoppages just to try and get that 25 to 30 metres going forward and not invite that pressure.
So they're camped inside the 50 right now, the Dogs. Hickey with a careful, close tap down. Circled by Bulldogs. Liberatore in the scrap. Daniel. High ball. This will test Geary, trying to find it, and he did. Excellent mark. Oh, the umpire's down.
I think Jack Newens collided with him, but they're both up and running, which is good.
Saints not waiting to apologise, just moving on instead. Revolt off half-back. And that's a bit of a mysterious kick from Revolt.
Great intercept marking, and away they go to the potential rising star.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts. There was very little in it. It's going to cost him a shot for goal.
Chase, if you track back, you can just see the way they're playing against Josh Bruce. There's got a little bit of biff in the wing here. Morris is taking front position and Eastonwood in behind. They go after that intercept mark. That's their mode of defence, is to stay very aggressive, and it's working so far.
So Clay Smith again finds himself shooting for goal.
Jeez, it sounded good.
Yeah. Just
Strange old run up. He arcs out to the left like a lot of the left footers. This is the one that was paid downfield. It's probably that he pushed him into another player that made it actually look worse as well.
Dempster prepared to start the run of handballs. Newnes, oh, that's out in the full as well. So they've started to look a little scrappy around the edges here, the Saints, as this quarter has progressed. Margin is 11. Picken to send it forward again. Just tempered the kick to give his men a chance to fly for it. Smith nearly dragged down another one. Dunkley. And Carl Daniel in amongst it again. Newnes. Free kick to Hickey. Revolt trying to claim it himself. They've dominated the last passage of play, haven't they, the Dogs? You can see by the inside 50 numbers of late.
Yeah, they need to change that around very quickly, the Saints, or the scoreboard's going to start hurting them.
Saints had the first 3, so they've only been inside once since then.
Might have hurt a finger, did he, Nick? Oh, the wrist, perhaps, Nick Revolt. He worked hard to get to that contest because he was back looking to take the free kick. In the end, he flew for the mark, but he's got that wrist bandaged.
Yes, he was feeling it even 5 minutes ago in a contest as well, so maybe it is an old wound. It has been aggravated. Throw in.
Well, they're just dominating this last 10 minutes as all those numbers we've been flashing up on screen would attest. The Dogs forward line whilst they haven't got the massive name down there at the moment, they are just so ballistic. They are working super hard for each other, continually on the move.
Suckling, shaping it as only he can. Gilbert couldn't drag it down. Stephen, so much commitment to the ball displayed by both teams there, and we'll have a ball up.
Still a little bit of difficulty. He's going to have to play with a bit of pain for the course of the match. If it's going to give him that sort of trouble each time he contests or cops a knock on it, it's going to be a painful evening for Nick Riewoldt.
Savage went to ground. Stephen claiming a free. Not spied by the umpire. Rounded up by Johannesson. Back for Biggs. Not the ideal situation for Picken to deal with. Riewoldt just does what he knows the best. Gets straight back into the action. Bruce has got to take on two here. An unkind bounce. It still could come to something, though. Weller, brilliant now. Blake Acres on the 50. Just saw off the tackle. They creep inside through Billings. Posting up was Membry. Back to Billings. He hesitated, and now he's lost.
Yeah, it's a great game of footy right now. There's a poor handball from the Dogs from Biggs that opened it up, and yet their defensive pressure was good enough to make up for their teammates' mistake.
It's just too slow, Billings. He had Jade Gresham lurking out the back for a quick hand pass. Would have had time and space to make a decision with the kick.
Still 5.5 minutes remaining in this opening term. It's already gone 24 minutes. Saints have numbers at half-back. No Mark Hickey. McKenzie, though. Good reinforcements from behind. And they do sort it out between them. Armitage.
Got nowhere to go now, though, unless he's going up the middle. Geez, they're working hard, the Dogs, to get that zone from one side of the ground to the other.
Just his second disposal, Seb Ross, and it's one of his better ones. It's a beautiful kick. And now Dunstan has the job off the left boot to hit Riewoldt up. Membry down the line. Dogs have covered him from both sides.
Well, he hasn't got Josh Bruce to kick to because he'd worked hard on the lead upfield.
Tom Hickey's just dragging himself down into that forward line.
Well, his kick was smothered. Came for Boyd, who sends it as high as he can out to the wing. Thump to ground again. Dunkley creative by hand.
Got to carry the ball.
Morris sees pick and clear. There's nothing for them inside 50. And so the short pass was chosen. Geary again wins the day.
It was the right option, just didn't quite hit the kick.
So Dunstan, and then further along the wing as they build again through Armitage. Just 14 disposals last week, David Armitage. He's most in a game since round 1, 2014. Sorry, Kingy.
Sorry, Hutto. They need to do something about Eastonwood. He's just patrolling as the extra, the loose man behind the ball for the Dogs. And the Saints aren't manning him up at the moment and stopping their go forward.
Not the best handball. Put Robertson on the back foot, but he's able to work a left foot kick, which drops short to the Dogs' advantage. And there he is, Eastonwood, thwarting another move forward.
Well, you're right, Hutto. It was a hand pass that didn't help Dylan Robertson, and then he had to wheel onto the left, and he just kicked it as high and as hard as he could without even putting it to the advantage of any of the forwards. So they have to do a little bit of work on the way they're kicking the ball inside 50, the Saints.
What we saw was Eastonwood take the great mark, but what you don't see was Matthew Boyd. He cut off the first option. That's why the Saints went back inboard, and ends up with Matthew with Eastonwood.
Billings now. They try again. This looks promising. Membry with the arms chop. No. And the Dogs are maybe able to escape. Fletcher Roberts back for Liberatore. Next is McRae. He's got some options inside. He saw them but can't get it there quick enough. And again it's Geary leading the way. Handball for Hickey. What's he like below the knees? Leaves it for someone more equipped. Dunstan gets it to Stephen. Could have gone anywhere. Went to Joey Montagna. Now Josh Bruce against three Dogs. Membry searching. It's Robertson, better known as a defender. How's the shot at goal, Dylan? It's away to the left.
You can just see with that pressure the Saints are bringing to bear. The Dogs are trying to handball their way through the defensive areas. But it's a real territory game now. Once you get it in there, the Saints have effectively now got a score to justify how much work they've put into this last 3 minutes.
Boyd decides to come out. Fletcher Roberts, the bounce accommodates just when it needed to. Linjong, he too didn't take the first option.
Yeah, I've got to find a target with this kick.
You just can't afford to get it wrong at the moment. Nunes deep forward. Oh, so close for Josh Bruce. Suckling, they continue to circle here, the Saints, but they're good enough, the Dogs, to get out. Bontempelli and Hunter Perilous kick, though, for Dunkley. And Jack Stephen to send them to a better position to calm down and have a shot for goal. And the experienced Saints doing it well there.
It's been a good press, this one, Jason. They've had 3 goes. The Dogs are getting it out and haven't been able to, and yet the Saints haven't made them really pay yet.
Well, the interesting thing was Lockie Hunter had to kick to that short 50-50, which was to Josh Dunkley. There was nothing further afield. He probably would have been better kicking to space and then just asking Dunkley to turn around and chase it, but it would have come back anyway.
Massive kick this for the Saints. They've worked so hard for some reward just before quarter time, and David Armitage delivers.
Well, it's a big goal by David Armitage after a lot of work had gone into it. But one of the issues that they've got is Nick Riewoldt. He's certainly carrying the wrist injury. It seems to be concerning him every time there's a lapse in play. He's flexing his wrist and squeezing his fist. But there won't be any relief until at least quarter time, if at all.
There's the little 50-50 we're talking about, and that's in your defensive 50. Tough to try and pinpoint that pass, and Jack Stephen, once he mopped it up, a beautiful kick on the left foot to Armitage.
He kicks his 8th goal of the season, David Armitage. And it's tied at Etihad Stadium.
Look at that kicking efficiency, good numbers. Given it's such a high-pressured game, they are good numbers.
Got gone there.
By foot.
Gresham out of the middle. Suckling and Bontempelli identified the players on the outside. Jong to Hunter. Low kick, and Boyd takes the mark. Or free kick. They kicked a big goal last week, and they really came for him. I wonder if this is within his range. He doesn't seem convinced, so instead angles it into the pocket. And was there interference? Certainly looked like it was close to it from Redpath. The umpire said no.
Did some sloppy handballs by the Saints.
And there was a couple of prime examples. Ling Jong returns the favour. Gresham. Oh, Stevens saw it off. Montagna did well under the circumstances. Easton Wood again, a powerful force out of defence. Looks like Wright might be assigned to him at least at times to try and nullify his impact. Hunter-Nelly lost the lot. They're going down one after another here. Free kick for some high contact on Kobe Stevens.
40 seconds.
And Boyd, one more chance to set it up. Suckling. St Kilda have the height and the numbers. Oh, that could be a free.
Oh, he'd be filthy, the coach, because Tom Hickey was there. He didn't need the super-duper shepherd. He just needed to just take his path, not take him out of the play.
Picture said it all of the coach, Alan Richardson. Jack Newnes, I think, the offender.
Yeah, well, you can see Newnes has his eyes on Picken coming in and steps across in front of him. That's what you can't do.
This to give the Dogs a 10-point advantage at the first change. And he's gone right across with the left. To the left, Liam Picken. It's quarter time here at Etihad Stadium.
It's all ready to happen again.
It is in the second term here at Etihad. The Dogs taking a 5-point advantage. Went inside 55 more times in the opening term. Hickey almost gave Stephen another chance to build on those numbers, and he went in with a great tackle, Tom Hickey. Good follow-up work. You love it when your ruckman's in there laying tackles.
Thanks, David. Cheers, mate. Come down here.
Riewoldt starting deep, and that's dragged Easton Wood back one line. And then as soon as there's a stoppage and the Saints lose possession, you'll see Nick Riewoldt on screen. There he goes, charging down into the fence.
Rough head.
Free kicks St Kilda down there. Tom, your kick, mate. Free kicks St Kilda.
Wow.
For a hold.
A hold back in the defensive 50, and the free taken, getting close to the forward 50.
That's such a weird place for a Bulldogs player to be holding a St Kilda player.
Seb Ross pokes it into the pocket. Josh Bruce back out for Montagna. Shapes the kick into the pocket, but to no avail.
Well, John Montagna usually a better kick than that. He has dead set missed a target. He knows it. Give himself a slap on the back side.
Morris almost. The hands from Picken were swift, but pinched by Armitage.
Oh, dangerous kick.
Oh, boy, didn't he give the Dogs a look at that. And Bontempelli more than happy to get involved. And he looks for some run, and who better to provide than Joe Hannison. with a bolt down the outer wing. Back for Biggs. He had to almost handball before he could look there, and you can see the consequences. Caleb Daniel goes in. Dug's up by Liberatore. Stevens feels it from Hickey. And it's a ball up.
Thought Membry did really well in that exchange there, not to give a high free kick away to Caleb Daniel, who was front on to him.
No escape there for Jackson McRae.
Let's clear the metre, guys. 1 metre, I want it separated. Thanks.
Tapped down again by Hickey, but well read by Caleb Daniel. And then Boyd pokes it out in front of McRae and Armitage. And he doesn't have a right foot, so he had to work all the way around to find his left again. And thank goodness he found it.
Gee, that's a good kick.
Tom Boyd's going to have the shot for goal.
Well, I thought he got himself in trouble. It looked like he turned back onto his right, but he just bought himself a little bit of time. And then the little grass cutter into Tom Boyd, who got down really well for a big bloke. He got down very, very well for that.
15 seconds gone.
And he's seen it a couple of times, the ball. 2 possessions. Needs to make the most of
I'll
this.
be interested in your assessment post-kick, Jason, as to this style.
Kick 3 against the Saints earlier in the year, Tom Boyd. Let's see if he's got his eye in from 40. No.
Well, we did see a free kick behind play. Just keep your eye on those 2 people.
Hold that, please, Tom. Play on.
Come back to it after a goal.
Play on.
As they work from deep defence through Geary again. Well-placed kick for Nunes.
Hold! Hold there, Matt!
And now he can drive it low down the line. It's close to the boundary again. And that has to be out of bounds.
Yeah, juggled over the boundary line. You can't pay that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, good.
Gee, they've dodged one there, and that's a great mark under difficult circumstances by Weller. It could create a goal. It'll be a controversial one, but no.
Now that is really poor judgment from Tom Hickey, because he got outmarked by Johansson in front, which means he's run far too far back. He should be the one taking the ball at the highest point, and there's no way Johansson should have been able to do that.
Tell you what, it's a great mark from Johansson there.
And that's
some ordinary kicks going around, Hutto, aren't there?
Roll the Benny Hill music at the moment. That's on the full.
I still can't believe Membry got away with that juggled mark over the boundary line before.
Josh Bruce is without an opponent right now.
Billings goes for right. I suspect he's playing as that defensive forward. Here's Jack Stephen to the square. Membry tried to shuffle through. He just did enough to get it to Revolt, who did the rest. Thank you very much. Scores level.
Well, that's what happens when you don't get relief. You kick the ball out of bounds on the full. The ball just keeps coming back. And Nick Riewoldt, once again, they're playing zone. He hasn't got a man. He's got Eastonwood behind him, about 5 metres, and Wood's very much a ball chaser. He's gone the ball, and it was Riewoldt that stays down.
He won't like looking at that Eastonwood, because he made the decision to leave and go to the contest, and if he does that, he's got to impact. Didn't touch the ball, took himself away from his man, and he got punished.
And even though they can move into all places on the field, Nick Riewoldt, he still finds a way to hit the scoreboard. His 24th goal of the year. Career best numbers for Nick Riewoldt, averaging 20 disposals and 10 marks a year after a game after all this time.
He's playing predominantly forward tonight.
Yes. Obviously with McCartan not in the team, he spends more time in the forward half. Dunstan, and they work it out wide. Geary coming back the other way though. Kobe Stevens breaking through. Johansson and then Boyd. Then one more handball to get it into the clear, and that's what they're able to achieve. Look at that kick from Suckling. He kicks like no other. Out onto the wing, tracked down by Matthew Boyd. Well-directed kick, Kobe Stevens. Oh, on his own, Bontempelli, can you believe that? Just crept over the top, it seems.
Yeah, it might have been stiff. Dempster not to get a free kick for being held there, and as soon as he got taken out of it, it was a clear passage through to Bontempelli, and you expect him to make the most of this opportunity.
5 disposals tonight for Marcus Bontempelli. He's kicked 16-10 for the season. What a player he already is, and no doubt will become Marcus Bontempelli puts the Western Bulldogs back in front. Early stages of the second term.
It was a great response to the Nick Riewoldt goal. And if we take a look at the last Nick Riewoldt goal, you'll just see how zone defence works. You see the Bulldogs, they've all got players without opponents. You've got Nick Riewoldt himself. Eastonwood will end up going for the ball, and you look at Riewoldt, he'll end up crumbing it unattached. There goes Wood. Riewoldt stays down. Nice little balk and good finish. So it's got its strengths, it's got its weaknesses, the zone defence. If you go for it and you've left your man, you must kill that footy or mark it.
Boyd with the follow-up. Ross heaves the Saints forward, sets a bit of a chase out at half forward, and he's just able to mow it down. And Gresham sends them deep. Again, Membry in the frame. Oh, Riewoldt from the side. Fletcher Roberts composed and accomplished with the kick out for Redpath. Just prodded out of the way by Gilbert, and he tries to hold Redpath off with much success. And the Saints can build again. Low kick inside, almost felt him there, I think. Yeah, coming out Gresham like a soccer header.
That was a great spoil, though, young Gresham. He'll learn. Put your hands out, you may get yourself a mark. You try and take it on the chest. It allows that lunging defensive punch.
Well done, Biggs. Slapped back by Boyd to get it outside the 50. Blake Acres. Numbers continue to multiply around the ball. Oh, Aaron handball. And a reasonably well-directed kick. Not perfect for Weller. The fumble didn't help. And the kick was even worse, compounding his issues.
Couldn't have hit him better. Could not have hit Dale Morris any better.
Vulnerable there, the Saints. Can the Dogs expose it?
Well, look what it's created along the wing. What a clean pickup. Oh, Dixon. The frustration taken out by Weller, who puts the hand up and says, sorry about that.
Professional free kick.
Yeah, slowed things down.
Crowd just saw the replay on the screen. As Dixon goes for a one-on-one. Put his faith in Roughhead, who didn't let him down. The extra centimetres and bulk, pretty helpful there. Here's the picture of indecision, but he settles on Bontempelli.
Yep. To me, it really looks like there is a distinct advantage in the air for the Western Bulldogs. They don't have many tall marking types, particularly in the defensive 50, the Saints. And I reckon every time they isolate some of those contests, there's a real advantage for the Western Bulldogs. You just see Weller throws out the arm there. I think Tory Dixon makes the most of it, so nothing serious.
We heard the coach before the game, Alan Richardson, say they were prepared to go in smaller and hope to get the run. As Bontempelli delivers another for the Dogs and sets them 2 goals apart now from the Saints here at Etihad Stadium, 10 minutes into the second.
This is a good kick of the footy, Bontempelli. That ball just has a very, very straight trajectory. It doesn't bend in the air. And he strikes them well. That is just a pure kick. There's Dempster trying to play tall. He had to try and outmark Roughhead. He couldn't do that. And then you'll see Bontempelli, who's got Jack Stephen as an opponent, gets a little block from Wallace, which gives him the space. And he's got an advantage in the air as well.
It was just all a bit too easy. Bontempelli using his great height to advantage Jack Stephen. He tracked him, but he just wasn't able to go with him in the air.
Hickey again, plying his trade against Boyd, and down to Stephen, who got a handball just to release the situation. Taken not to the perfect advantage of Hickey, but he's able to manufacture something. Sinclair out of position to mark. He's done well not to give away free, but look at Eastonwood now. He's gone.
Good defensive pressure.
Nunes reaping the rewards of that. He had Membry long. Montagna gets given the job to set it up for him. He was close. Morris was close too. Acres shovels it out to Gresham. All the way back to Gilbert. A little off balance. A bit of a nothing kick. And Ling John there to cut it off for the Dogs. Time expires. Oh, it's a funny old kick through the air. And well read by Gilbert, who offered Savage something to run with, and he tried once, and if you fail the first time, go again. Off to right with a big snap for the Saints.
Well, they're creating opportunities. That's the important thing. Making life difficult for the Bulldogs, getting the ball out of the defensive 50.
Suckling with a strong handball. And the flow-on effect, there's a couple of little neat passes down the line to Clay Smith.
They've been able to play on 2 or 3 times like that from fullback and just go with 2 long handballs and clear their back 50. Something to work on there for the Saints.
Good effort, Hickey. Got a fair piece of it. And Tom Boyd arguing the toss, but seemed to be reasonable. Robertson, he's got Weller coming off the bench and Armitage as well. He might need both of them. No, Weller takes it on. Gee, Revolt's got to find it. Not going to be easy. And he's, well, close to interfered. Gee, an exotic handball from McRae out the back to Johannesson. He seemed to know what he was doing.
He knew he was there and he had no other option. It was smart, really skillful play.
And Picken almost. Jack Stephen. And Picken protesting. Got some good support in the crowd too.
Oh, they're passionate.
Very unbiased, of course. Dogs leading by 11. Saints getting back on level terms, courtesy of Revolt, but a couple from Bontempelli has changed that. Pickett goes into the turf at Etihad again.
Got him a bit high. Umpire was on the spot.
And shoveled it out, Billings. And now they're on the run again. Armitage, Revolt, got it.
Jeez, that was good use of the body.
Oh, 50. Had to be 50. Wow.
Let's see the markers here. Thank you.
Just put his arm back, I think, and just kept his opponent away from him, Fletcher Roberts.
Well, he can't, the mark's taken, and after that, you should not make contact anyway.
We shouldn't, but he was in the mark in contest because he was being held off.
Here's the kick. Not convincing, but it gets there. And Revolt doing it single-handedly this quarter for the Saints. Bontempelli the same at the other end.
It was a little bit of a wobbly kick off the boot, but he got the job done. So he's got 2 goals to his name now, 8 possessions. Nick Revolt. You just see he uses the long reach to hold Fletcher Roberts off. Does it very, very well.
No, definitely 50.
Yeah, probably. Look, he gave him a lot of license, didn't he, the umpire?
And you have a look here. Not perfect off the boot. Brought it from right to left. Pretty happy with the result.
So they're hanging in there, the Saints. Leading the contested numbers, and that's a start, and it's no easy task against the Bulldogs to achieve that.
Revolt moves up to a wing. You can see him bottom of screen. Has spent most of the time in the forward 50 tonight.
Roughhead's timing was excellent with the ruck work, but well scooped up by Armitage, and that gets the Saints going again. Some of the old firm. Terrific smother by the youngster Dunkley. Montagne's got 2. He's stuck in the middle there.
Top game of footy, this.
No, he's injured again, Nick Revolt.
Look at this for a smother. Absolutely perfect technique. Boot before the ball leaves the boot, and he has just killed it.
Tanya hesitating. Stephen not so. Surging forward, it rushed the handball to where he imagined a player might be, but they weren't. That's just as bad, it's worse from Hunter. Creates a chance for Weller. The pressure is reaping lots of bad decisions. It's easy from here. It's tough out there. The Dogs get it together. Wallace, set up Boyd, put a target on him. He was good enough. Put it into the wing, and over the line goes Clay Smith looking for a free. Same spot for Weller as we saw the contact before.
You just see Clay Smith indicating he copped one high, but
he's copping it and giving it Weller tonight.
This is a physical game, and there are going to be some very, very tired players, and that should have been a free kick for high contact.
Stephen and Bontempelli at the feet of the ruckman here, and it's Stephen that bounces up first. Off to Armitage, really getting into the game. He's
the ball
just
out.
gone over the line.
I think we saw Jack Stephen handball the ball sideways when he was running at goal, and sometimes in these high-pressure games, I think they've got 3 tall forwards down there. They'd be better off occasionally just getting it in and back their competitive marking talents down there.
Wallace watching Stephen. Oh, Armitage throws the head back. Got some high contact. Starting to find it now.
Not sure that was the target, was it?
Absolutely positive it wasn't.
Not sure it was the full required distance either, but
no, it's just 3/4 of a mowing strip, Hutto.
Oh, look at that floater.
Just have a look at what the Saints are doing here, in tight and tough. They're winning the contested possession battle by 9. Bear in mind the Dogs have only lost that head-to-head battle once for the season. it's a key indicator for the Western Bulldogs, and the Saints are taking it up to him.
Jack Stephen, 21 disposals of that is probably his worst of the night. Yeah, it's a great point, Kingy. Jack Stevens had 9 contested possessions. Mav Weller's had 8. They're the two that have really been leading the way for the Saints. As you can see, the coaches, Beveridge and Richardson, both have made big impacts on their footy club since taking over the reins. Oh, Dunstan.
Stevens off the chain here.
Now Seb Ross has got Stephen as an offer. Didn't take it. Sends it high. Membry loomed large and he almost dragged it down. Good follow-up, Nunes. Came to Membry anyway. He was desperate to find someone. Armitage, quick reflexes. Off to Sinclair, trying to will it back to goal. Hands in the back. And it might be 50 now.
Well, there's a big difference between pushing a bloke out and holding your ground.
You can just about do anything on the goal line normally, Jared, but not there.
Yeah, well, he used the hands. He had to use other parts of the body to do it.
Nick Rewell's just come to the bench. So,
What's that?
oh dear.
Well, how is it going to cost them? It's going to cost them with a goal. Suckling would love a hole right now as Stephen puts the Saints in front.
Well, when you bend the ball that much, you occasionally, once every now and again, going to make a hash of it. And there's the free kick.
That's hands in the middle of the back. This, to me, is just trying to be a bit too clever. Off one step, almost a look-away kick.
Did he lose his footing in the less than satisfactory turf down there?
You're being kind.
Well, it might have been. Looked like he might have just brought up a divot.
Suspect that might get a run tomorrow night somewhere, Jace.
Well, for one of the best kicks in the game, he won't like looking at that one, Matty Suckling. But the fact is, when you play a high-risk game, and sometimes his kicks directly result in goals because he hits targets that very few players can, sometimes his mistakes do cost.
Yeah, that directly resulted in a goal, but not the way he would have imagined. Johannesson off half-back now. Boyd just toughed it out in the middle and got them going. And Johannesson powering forward again. He sends it forward fairly blindly, and Dempster's been doing that for years. Takes them up.
Well, that's just a byproduct of the pressure that the Saints have brought to bear. Johannesson, he burst clear. He had a couple of metres. He could have looked up and pinpointed a pass.
Had some targets out here on the wing. Armitage gives it to Gresham. Where to next? Oh, they had an extra Saint inside the 50, but he was going to take 2 kicks to get there, and he couldn't quite make it.
Gone a bit smaller in the forward line, the Saints, for the last 5 minutes, but Nick Rewell just being assessed with his ankle on the bench here. He just makes his way back on the field now, and Tim Membry also having a rest.
And you can see there, one of the reasons the Saints are back in this game, their clearance numbers
Ooh,
are going through the roof.
It's close to the line about being tackled after grabbing it out. Now Suckling, he had to get rid of it. He knew his responsibility that time. Johannesson carved out a kick for Pickett. Got to the right place, had Clay Smith as the short option. Instead he goes long to full forward. At the back, Dixon goes to ground. Ling Jong. And it's not going to amount to much.
David, you showed some vision about the Bulldogs going backwards at a stoppage, getting out of congestion. That last one from Suckling, he just knew that those 2 players were there, probably screaming at them, but he handballed it back blindly and they got away with it.
They have a great handball game, the Western Bulldogs. It's been a trademark of their season. You can see it here, Jared. This is exactly what you're talking about. He knows where the support is. Johannesson's there. You've got Biggs there. Great supporting numbers.
And it's good vision for opposition clubs playing the Dogs. They had 3 St Kilda players go to Suckling. 2 of them had to go to the recipients.
Just a little extra holding. And Geary is going to take the free at half-back.
It's been a good quarter 2 by the Saints. They've really owned the game the last 15 minutes.
What's this one going to come to? Seb Ross off the left for Weller. Oh, he interrupted Boyd's attempt at the mark.
It's a skill in its own right, being able to body and not give away a free kick, take the mark.
Well, one of the keys to doing it is when you make that contact, you've got to do it in a way that the contact pushes you back to where the ball falls, so you actually are competing for the mark.
Dixon getting ever closer here, the Dogs. Trailing by 1. Tight Saturday night at Etihad.
Shank
into the pocket. Saints everywhere.
Didn't didn't really kick it to a dangerous spot. Saints had the more numbers.
Yeah, I think as Joe said, maybe just not quite the connection he was after.
Bit off the side of the boot, that one from Tory Dixon.
Dempster a handball. Savage can kick it a fair way and pretty high by the look of that. This time it's a Saints free against Boyd.
A lot of things happening off the ball. I reckon a lot of players would do better just to focus on the footy itself.
No one on the mark. He can scoot away Nunes. Handball to Akers. He's got some options, and there's 4 Dogs around the option he chose.
Clever.
And now McRae back into the middle. Picken, he was committed to playing on, but he just realised what that would have achieved. Not much. And decided to play the patient game. Bontempelli already with 2 goals this quarter for Roughhead as they work the City half-forward flank. Just under 5 minutes remaining. Tension really building here on a big Saturday night. A lot at stake. Boyd is down there. Bruce reaching over the top. Akers tries to come away with it, but can't. The Dogs guarding the exits. Under pressure. Bruce handballing in hope more than anything. And close to the boundary line, not quite out. Now the dangerous spot is that last line. And Gilbert showed a great nerve. And now they can't afford to burn it right. Got the handball away. Dunstan skies it well. An uncomfortable moment or two. But he didn't blink. Takes the mark.
Gee, Gilbert was cool on the last line of defence.
Almost too cool.
Yeah. It was good practice because hopefully that's what everybody has to do next year.
This is a tough game, boys. This is a high-pressure game right now. This is an absolute belter, and both sides are making it extremely difficult for their opponent to come out of their defensive half.
And they've found their way around, the Saints. Out to the wing. Bruce, Montagna dabbing for Revolt. Good spoil, no free kick given away. And Biggs received after putting that spoil on. And now McRae, who continues to accumulate. Goes short, Roughhead, out wide to half-forward again.
It's a game of inches, and that last kick at Joe Montagna's again, it was just a foot too high.
Not kicking with his usual poise, is he?
Caleb Daniel gave Billings a look. Now Dunstan. And as soon as you get it, you've got to get rid of it or you're in trouble. And Nathan Wright found that out. Johannesen goes to ground. It's good stuff. 3 minutes remaining in the frenetic second term at Etihad Stadium.
Well, these are great signs for the future for the Saints because the Bulldogs are playing really well, and yet the Saints, who they're on the improve, but they're not there with the big boys yet. They are really taking it up to them.
They just avert the danger there, the Dogs, but the kick forward from McRae, the favour of Dempster again. Back for Geary. Good hard running ahead, but the kick had a tough G. Wellis making a habit of that, taking good marks off halfback to try and create opportunities forward. Good spoil from Roberts. And that's a fine effort from Stephen, but well matched by Eastonwood.
Tell you what's interesting, and we've spoken about the advantage that the Bulldogs should have in the air, particularly up forward with an undersized Saints defence. The Saints are winning the contested marks 11-2. Try and work that one out. They're finding good contests and kicking to the advantage better than the Bulldogs are.
Dunstan, that was clean, and he had something in the middle that caught the eye, and it was Montagna. Let's see what he can create.
They've got a long option.
Takes the short one, and it's Nick Rewald. He's been doing that for a little while.
Well, that was interesting because Rewald himself was pointing to the long option of memory because it was 2-on-1. And yet, probably because the ball didn't sit perfectly for Montagna, it ended up requiring another leading target.
15 seconds, Nick.
So Nick Rewald already with 2 goals in the quarter. This for 3. And the goal umpire does not have to move a muscle. And the Saints lead by 7.
Well, good transition. High-quality game, and the Saints, they're playing arguably the best footy I think they've played under Alan Richardson this last couple of weeks. They had a couple of bad ones a month ago, and yet they have responded really well. 2 home games now, or 2 games at Etihad Stadium. And they are producing some terrific football.
We spoke about their ability to pressure, and they are not allowing the Bulldogs to control the ball. Once the Bulldogs win a stoppage, they normally control it by hand and then move the ball forward. But they've created turnovers. They've forced the Bulldogs to have to dispose of the ball quicker than normal without as much time and poise, and it's really worked in their favour. And now they find themselves in a particularly good position if they can continue to do this for 4 quarters.
And Kingy, those numbers are phenomenal for this quarter, those contested possessions in favour of the Saints.
I think you have to bear in mind that only Richmond had a favourable result in contested possession head-to-head against the Dogs. Only one loss this year, so this quarter alone to be -17 is a huge number. That's bordering on the ridiculous, and I think Luke Beveridge will want to just get these troops downstairs and reset them.
It's also showing up in the clearance numbers. It's 12-5, which is very unlike the Western Bulldogs.
Guys, not so far back. Tom. Don't start so far back.
So the umpire telling the ruckman not to stand so far back. Watching out for the more shallow throw in. They gather together. Boyd got the tap down.
Dark play on.
I heard the interpretation of the duck play on.
Come out here. Hold the meter.
He's only had the 3 kicks for the quarter, Nick Riewoldt. It's 3 kicks for 3 goals.
I don't think they're complaining about that. Kobe Stevens surging forward. Saints have got the extra. And they're just able to hold off and allow Robertson to take the mark.
That's unlike the Bulldogs. When you surge forward, you just can't boot it to a 3-on-1.
Weller has been a real asset for them coming out of defence, and he sends it now. Riewoldt to Membry. It's all there for him. He had to come back up to get it. He's teased him and lured him to come forward. He couldn't take it, and now Johannesson goes to work off half-back. Links up with Suckling, decides to handball. Bont with the next one to Hunter. They build, looking more dangerous. Bontempelli shut down though. Brilliant tackling. Came from Geary. Still they come, but not for long. Oh, it's an untidy tackle.
Even though they've given a free kick away, that shows you the pressure that is not allowing the Bulldogs to control the footy.
One-on-one's ahead for the Dogs, which is good news. Smith off the left. It's tight down there. Dempster holds his ground. Not paid. He just realised it in the nick of time. Savage, 30 seconds to go. It could still come to something. Blake Acres down the line. Big kick required here. Or clever hands from Jack Stephen. Instead, Revo, watch out. He had to handball him Hope more than anything. Trying to weave his way through. Blake Acres bit off more than he could chew.
On the ball.
And now that will just about do, unless Hunter can hit a target and get one more opportunity. 4 seconds, 3, and siren about to sound. Just a moment too soon for the Western Bulldogs, who are under massive pressure here at Etihad Stadium at half-time, unless he thinks he's Malcolm Blight here.
Well, we'll get an idea of what sort of torque he possesses.
Well, we know what sort of run-up he likes. It's about 35 metres.
So, Marcus Bontempelli to kick it 60 metres plus. He has given it a huge crack.
Oh, that's good.
And who knows? Imagine if it's a 1-point result at the end of the night.
That was a great...
That is a respectable talk, Jared.
It was a magnificent talk. Good to see it alive. And, well, magnificent game of footy. The Saints are challenging the Western Bulldogs. They've got themselves into a really strong position. Luke Beveridge, he'll go back to basics at half-time, and I think he'll do it in a pretty blunt manner because... they are at risk of losing their chance for the top 4 spot.
Great second quarter.
I remember Damien Harvick once went with Big Boy Month. I'll tell you what, it's a Big Boy Month for the big boys at the Western Bulldogs. And Luke Beveridge needs more from Jack Redpath and obviously Tom Boyd. They've had 5 disposals between them in a half of football. And if they're to go on and win this game without Stringer in this forward line, they need to show they can have a presence and they can hit the scoreboard. And more importantly, they can get their hands on the ball. That's simply not enough from these two so far, and they've got a half to correct their night.
Kingy, I'm 100% with you, and they get the opportunity against non-key defensive position types like Gilbert and Robertson. If they can't take their marks against these players, well, they're not going to do it against some of the best fullbacks or key position defenders in the competition. And that's no disrespect to Gilbert and Robertson, but they're normally your flankers and your utility type players.
It has been final-like pressure on the ball through the middle of the ground. One thing they haven't been able to do is find Boyd and Redpath in a one-on-one. They've been really consistent, the Saints, dropping back numbers and crowding them up.
Interesting that Liberatore is playing forward. Kind of like to see him in the action getting some clearances, which is what he does best.
There's a bit of pushing and shoving going on back in that goal square, but our focus is the middle of the ground as the third quarter gets underway with a Hickey tap, and then more bodies going to ground. Bontempelli back in the heart of it, but Dunstan, who's extracted it well for the Saints tonight, to Membry. That's how the game started, with Membry taking a strong mark. This is a more difficult shot for goal from further out, but he's a lovely kick.
Look at Nav Weller. Bit of byplay with Easton Wood. He gave him a shove. So we have a look in the middle of the ground, a bit of friendly fire. Bontempelli and Jong, heads coming together. But Mavwella was in the face of Easton Wood. He gave a bit back, then wanted to go on with it.
3 marks tonight for Tim Membry, and this for his 2nd goal. What a fine story he's been for the Saints this year. And again, it's good enough. It's through, and the Saints lead extends to 12.
He doesn't miss, Jared. He does not miss, and it's another contested mark. 13-2, the contested marks.
Let me take you back to the opening bounce, Jason, of the game. And it was very similar, wasn't it? The ball went forward, Saints went up, and a big mark. And here's the first bounce of the 2nd half. Ball went forward. Same bloke threw his hands up in the air, marked, and kicked a goal.
Contested marks killing the Bulldogs at the moment.
I think Liberatore in the forward line tells you that they're pretty keen to keep the ball inside. They've been disappointed with the way that the Saints have been able to run it out. Libba will be there as much for his goal-kicking ability, but more so for his stop ability and his tackle ability.
Yep. I think the coaching move by Alan Richardson to hold 6 forwards, and you can see here, it forces the Dogs to go one-on-one. They don't have the luxury of the loose man of Easton Wood.
34 goals, 14 for the year now, Membry too. He's provided been a real force as the Dogs try and counter, but Bontempelli run out of time.
They continue to put enormous pressure on. The tackling has been first class from the Saints.
Dunstan off to Ross. And the kick is there for Weller from behind. Bruce came on the scene late, and now Hunter escapes, but it was a rush kick. Kobe Stevens under pressure. Back up for grabs. The commitment is magnificent. Stephen tried to find a way out. Dab hand kick. Mark paid. Taken by Geary. Got the call in the pocket. Membry's on the move. Takes it. Standing start. Didn't shoot. Gave his teammates a chance. Dogs came from all angles. Picken, Bontempelli, now McRae. Issues past to Biggs. Rushed it onto the boot. Out for Boyd. Got pushed. And he's going to get a free.
Gee, that's a bad one to give away. They had a 3-on-1, the Saints.
So Tom Boyd from half-back into Lingjong. He dropped it. Never a good time to drop them, but it can be very dangerous in that spot. And he's frustrated. He slaps his hand into the dirt.
At least he didn't make a second mistake. He bounced up, he made the tackle, and he didn't let the ball come out.
Roughhead trying to feed it down, but Jack Stephen is a menace. And he's got a good partner in crime tonight in Dunstan.
To give you an indication of just how well the Saints are going in the pressure, the Bulldogs so far have given away 9 holding the ball free kicks, and that's the AFL average for the match.
Dunstan with 5 clearances for the Saints for the night. As McKenzie fires out the handball. It's a sky ball all the way to full forward. Josh Bruce this time as it hits the front. Oh, was that high? It was against Revolt on Hunter.
He played that well, Lockie Hunter. He knew he was going to get crunched, but he put his body in the position to draw that kick.
And he's pushing really deep to try and get this ball out. They've got to do better than that. They're usually sharper. It's another ground ball.
Wallace.
Which puts Wallace under pressure. Then he had kicks, and all of a sudden the pressure goes back on, coming back in.
Geary was desperate to get it to Savage. We know the penetration on the kick. Set up for Membry. As they shuffled around, he just lost his balance a fraction. Dogs escape. Suckling, though. Just got the relief valve when he needed it from Biggs.
Oh, they're out now.
They've got a channel through the middle, and Daniels has come off the bench, and there's an option to the left if they can find him in the 50. It's a wandering, meandering ball, though. And Dempster instead comes with a powerful handball. A fumble from Gilbert. Got a shove to go with it. Well played by Clay Smith. Gets it back. He's about to be gone, but he squeezed the kick, but it was not exactly what he was after. Robertson to Nunes as they try and steady off half-back. Savage, some relief with the kick. Back to Jack Stephen. He's everywhere. His 30th disposal, if you don't mind. Early in the 3rd. What a player he is now for the Saints.
Well, if he wasn't concerned earlier, Luke Beveridge, he would be now. We saw the Lingjong kick was just horrible. He had 3 options and he found the one St Kilda player. Clay Smith misses the lead up of Tom Boyd. They're just not using the ball well enough when they do get it.
Well at a half forward. Dogs well represented. Bruce came hard though to just even up the numbers when it mattered. Frantic flung handball from right, and it's over the line, but that's pretty good as far as the Saints are concerned.
At what stage, Jared, do you need to put a clamp on this man here, Jack Stephen?
I was just thinking that, King, they've got somebody like Marcus Picken that can become a clamp, but as much as that, they've got to find a way to get Mitch Wallace into the game, and albeit in the early part of his career, Caleb Daniels is such an important ball user, but he's only had it 9 times. Wallace has only had it 7 times. Victoria just the 7 times. So some of their really key motivating players or key ball movers just can't find it.
Yeah, Jack Stephen, he's only had the 30 and kicked the goal. We're halfway through the 3rd term.
Hickey able to feed it out to Dunstan again, and Revold's going to take another mark. He loves playing against the Western Bulldogs, Jack Revold, over the years. Had some big games, kicked over 50 goals against the Dogs. This is his 25th appearance.
I'll tell you what,
He's holding back the tide at the moment.
Yeah.
If you don't win a contested ball or a stoppage, eventually your forwards are going to be, your defence is going to be torn apart. And you see Revold, he's got no one on him.
This for his 4th goal, and he kicks it in convincing fashion, and the Saints have really got away now and lead by 18. And they've kicked the last 5 goals in this game.
it's going to take something special now if the Bulldogs are going to fight their way back. You can see Suckling here. He gets called back, but neither player that was there actually picked up Nick Revold. They were worried about Josh Bruce was the deeper forward, and they weren't key position types that were back either, so they got caught with mismatches.
It's a great kick.
And they've been punished. And Mav Weller got straight in the face of Matty Suckling after that, as he's done to every Bulldog defender when he has the opportunity. He is just giving them curry every chance he gets.
Well, Dunstan looked like he was going to go sort of more towards the goal, but he hooked it back beautifully. Brilliant vision, good execution.
What a player. I know they had troubles kicking 2-6 in the 3rd quarter last week, but right now the Saints right on target, and the Dogs are feeling it as they go for Ling John. Needs to take this opportunity, decided to handball, and he went further into the mire with Tory Dixon.
The tackling's just too good.
Once again, the over use of the ball.
Yep.
John Trudhate taking the shot. He had the shot.
Difficulty for the Bulldogs, though, Jared, is this pressure is so good from the Saints. Sometimes it's not easy to adjust the way you play.
Yep.
And they haven't adjusted at all.
Bruce was the target from the Acres kick. Dunkley, Johannesson, back to the wing. Behind the wing even, as they're forced back almost a half-back. Clay Smith into Suckling, decides to handball to Biggs. Wallace makes the move at the ball. And it was a well-constructed piece of play. Thought it might have been a push.
Look at the numbers though.
On that last line, Robertson fires out the handball to Gilbert. And a run provided by Montagna. Not the best kick. It gave Johannesson a sighter. He took it, and does he punish? No. Marked right on that very last line by Dylan Robertson.
Gee, Jerry Montagna would have breathed a sigh of relief, wouldn't he? His kicking has been off tonight.
Seb Ross hankering to handball as they went past him, but just decided to press pause. Get the more conservative option going. Gresham again. He can put on a move or two for a young man. Drives to half forward. Good bustle and hustle there from Roberts to deny Membry. And now Johannesson goes into action. Pickett as they advance to half forward. Wallace running hard inside the 50 is Dixon. Oh, almost a swing and a miss, and airy from Liberatore. It's up for grabs on the 50, into Caleb Daniel. Back to Johannesson. They just managed to handball themselves into the clear. None of it's perfect, and again the Saints come, and they come again, and the pressure builds until eventually the inevitable happens, and now it's Dunstan streaming forward, puts his faith again in Nick Revold. Temptation is the goal square. Does he take the shot? He doesn't. He waited till Membry got there as the better option, and the Saints are doing it all at the moment at Etihad Stadium, and it's great to watch.
Well, there's turnovers and there's turnovers, but a double smother is a classic turnover.
If you wanted a passage of play to typify the character of your club in a given season, that's the one St Kilda will show.
Yeah, that was
And
brilliant.
they'll just say, if we play like this every week, if this is the effort we put in, we've got no problems. We're going places.
When was the last time you saw a double smother?
It's been a while. I'm pleased I was here.
You saw it on Saturday night footy, and at Etihad Stadium, You would have thought Tim
Deserved a
Membry
goal.
would have put that through. He's such a reliable man in front.
Thanks, Josh.
It's very rare for Tim Membry to miss like that.
He hit the post a couple of times last week.
Long down the middle.
Suckling knows how to do that. Saints are there, but Daniel was at the right spot and escapes. Sets Redpath up with a chase back to goal. So they had to both try and find it. Savage could have been holding the ball. Umpire says no, it's not. Great snap, Dixon. What a contrast. A miss at one end, a great goal at the other.
Yeah, and there's a great fight back by the Bulldogs. Courageous work straight down the middle. I love it when Caleb Daniel gets the ball because he makes good decisions. Here's the double smother we talked about. There's one. Ball comes back down. Looks like another attacking kick. Akers gets in. In fact, it was Dunstan gets involved.
The only thing they didn't do, Jared, was kick the goal. So they miss at one end when they deserved a goal. And then the quick kick up the middle.
There's a good kick there.
One-on-one contest. It was a good effort by Savage to stop Redpath, but Dixon there. And that's effectively a two-goal turnaround.
Well, this is no good.
Well, he kicked thin air when he tried to kick the ball. It was obviously landed awkwardly.
So he's limping off the ground, Jack Redpath, after helping create a goal. They're a man down at the moment. Let's see who gets control of the footy. A little bit of hanging on the jumper of Dunkley, not spotted by the umpire. Liberatore digs in. Boyd. Now Robertson feeling the heat. Ross. Dogs giving it everything they've got. Bontempelli forward. Maybe a bit of holding. Play on the call. Gilbert. The stresses. The strains. Wingjong's back. And celebrating a goal. And the Dogs are back within 7 points. What a turnaround.
So I wonder whether they stay small in the forward line with Redpath going off the ground, or whether they put Roughhead down there. The only thing I could see was that left ankle on landing may have just landed a little bit awkwardly, or as he grabbed at his knee. We'll find out
Might be the right one.
when David King has a chat to their medical people. But what a response from the Dogs. Just when the Saints looked as if they could have put almost a match-winning separation on them with the Membry goal, they've kicked 2 quick ones, and away we go.
Sometimes you get a blessing in disguise, don't you? A different structure up forward, smaller, more mobile. Chaos ball coming in.
Staying small too. Boyd in the ruck, Roughhead on the ground.
Fine. Sorry, guys.
Grimace from Ray Chamberlain after missing the mark on his ball up. So Josh Bruce having a run in the ruck. Hickey having a spell. Boyd gets the tap down. Hunter, and suddenly things have turned around. Liberatore's been a part of that. Wallace hit it hard, flicked it back. Brilliant pickup from Bontempelli, and the finish goes with it. A goal befitting the young champion that he is from Marcus Bontempelli.
3 to Bontempelli, 3 goals in the space of a couple of minutes, and the game's been turned on its head. Jared, where did this come from?
Well, they're a special group, this Western Bulldogs. I think that's why we all think that the ultimate is not beyond them in the next year or so. Right now they're battling. They're 2 players down. Redpath's down in the rooms. Dale Morris, we believe, is also carrying an injury. Not sure whether he's going to come back onto the ground. So their backs to the wall right now, and yet they're just 1 point down, where 3 minutes ago they looked like they were heading for a trouncing.
Yeah, with Morris off the ground, it's meant that Roughheads had to go and play key defence. That's why Boyd's back in the ruck.
Redpath up and running along the boundary, boys, so he should be back on soon. Dale Morris still in the rooms.
Gee, that's a remarkable recovery, isn't it? They kicked 5 in a row, the Saints, and now the Dogs have strung 3 together. And that's deemed a throw, and it could have been 50.
You can see Redpath there just being put through his paces. He's shaking his head. It's a right ankle. He doesn't appear super confident that's going to carry the bulk of his frame.
Fair bit of work going on there from Clay Smith before the ball arrived. Umpire ticked it off. Newnes sweeping handball. Matenda keeping it in. Gilbert looks like he's going to have a shot for goal, and he very nearly did as he kicked it across the face. And he finds Geary safely enough in the back pocket. And now Akers. As the Saints' response will be interesting here. Can they still find it within themselves to keep attacking and playing the same way they have? Under siege for the moment.
You can't expect to have 100% your own way. They've had 5 minutes now, the Dogs, where they've just peppered the goal mouth.
Roberts and Dunkley get together. Picken linking up with Hunter as they pick their way through Etihad Stadium. Good-looking kick, although Savage couldn't stop it. And now a little fend off from Gilbert, just got away with it. Back through centre half back, Armitage not quite. Liberatore took them on. It comes out to Johannesson, tries to get the run forward. Sitting on that defensive 50, not for long. Membry has sunk the slipper into that. How will the umpire read it? Deliberate.
Well, that's it. That's covered 60 metres.
Yeah.
A long clearing kick out of defence.
It was almost too good.
It in.
Yeah.
Play on. And a good response here by the Dogs.
Yeah, Ling Jong on the move.
He's been dangerous, John.
Boyd's pushed forward. He's only got Smalls as opponents.
A careful approach.
They've won the last 4 clearances. They're getting their contested game going again.
Roberts into the pocket. Boyd, room large. McKenzie takes it away.
Oh.
And now he's gone.
A little bit of their own medicine, defensive pressure.
It's Caleb Daniel, who's been such an outstanding player for them this year.
Daniel McKenzie just caught with the ball.
One of the hot favourites for the rising star. Just been so consistent over the past 11 weeks. Has averaged between 20 and 25. He's had between 20 and 25 every game. He swings this one to the left and it falls a bit short and it comes off hands and goes home.
Unsure, Anthony, what the problem is with Dale Morris. He didn't come back from the rooms at half-time, hasn't taken his place on the bench nor the field, so we'll try and get an updated three-quarter time on Dale.
Thanks, Kingy. Margin 1. Dogs pressing and pressing hard. In a real game of momentum.
Well, there's a man in question. It's a huge blow. He's such a pivotal factor in their zone defence.
Redpath is back out there, as we said. Bontempelli for his 4th.
He's hooked it too far. They've definitely lifted a couple of notches, haven't they?
Robertson getting adventurous. Has Membry in mind that Easton Ward will fly. Can't mark. Boyd did well from one Boyd to another as they attack again. And Saints almost fought between themselves, but in the end it's Dunstan. No, he's paid it to Geary. Now he's paid it to Dunstan. 3 goals to 2 for the quarter in favour of the Dogs.
Well, if he looks up down the line, he's got Boyd and Easton Wood. So Membry's got to do a power of work here.
He's done pretty well under the circumstances. It gets better with that kick down the
2-on-1
line from Nunes. So Roberts is going to be under siege the moment he picks up the ball, and Weller was not going to let him go under any circumstances.
He just didn't think that one through. Inexperienced player, took possession, needed to just either flick it back behind him where the cavalry was.
Josh Bruce wants it in the square. It's not really tossed to his advantage. And the fist was prominent and got it out of there. But Hickey showing good agility for a big man. Geary sets them up and they can all jump and run again. Jack Stephen knew where it was going to drop. He flew. Nunes, Roberts, Smith, Liberatore still in the perilous position as far as the Dogs concerned. Nunes, his body's going everywhere. On the 50, Montagna, little path he forged, sets it high. Degree of difficulty extremely high to mark it. Nathan Wright, full-bodied at the ball. Well done, Boyd. Last line, it's a sky ball from Johannesson. Stephen and Hunter in combat, it's out of bounds.
Well, I've seen the last 2 kicks from St Kilda essentially just go up in the air, Jason. They believe they've got the advantage, but they still haven't been able to clunk enough marks to get themselves back in front.
Scores level. Dug out by Stephen. Right in the pocket. Gresham, the little sneak. Oh, has he kicked it? He has.
How does that go through from there?
That's how. He's a special young one. Here's Gresham.
Well, they're glowing in their praise of this young man. They say he's got a touch of class. He's capable of doing quite a few flashy things. He's got X factor about him. ball's kept in, and then that's just throwing it on the boot, throwing a prayer up, Jared.
Well, sometimes they wobble for you and sometimes they wobble against, but as a few people have said, the harder you train, the luckier you get, and this young kid just seems to do it too often for luck to be the major consideration.
Kicked a big goal against the Cats as well on a Saturday night, and he's done it again at a critical stage with his team under threat after taking the lead. They're back in front by 6 now, and Clay Smith, Kobe Stevens, who just worms his way through pretty well to Biggs, and they're on their way again as they converge on centre half forward.
That's a good grab.
Dempster.
She's been doing that for a long time now, Jason.
Yeah, and they're getting outmarked everywhere, the Western Bulldogs. They've got to find a way to make contests.
Drafted by Sydney back in 2002, Sean Dempster. Still playing fine footy, Josh Bruce. And what's ahead? There's plenty of Saints.
They're out here.
Savage pokes it for a revolt, and he can't quite grip it. Easton Wood, with a speculative handball, Liberatore did enough. And so too Daniel and Dunkley and Stephen. Then the issue's through, that's a throw. And it's Gresham again.
He had options, Kobe Stevens, and he just hung on to the footy.
Savage just been able to sneak away. Revolt wants it in the pocket, and he doesn't get it.
Twice now. I think Savage has just not hit Rewald twice in 2 kicks.
Well, we know that's the one thing that will haunt them at different stages, just the odd skill error. But the endeavour's very good from St Kilda.
It was there from Lin Jong. So 3 goals, 1 each for the quarter. Dogs have been inside 52 more times, so it's tight as you can just about get. The Saints with a 1-goal lead, though. Redpath worked in well with Hunter. And he's got Picken surging in. And he's going to have to jump. We know he can. He's held off, held his ground. Geary with a counter. Picken doing all he can. Suckling can't step his way through, so locks on with a big tackle.
Gee, I reckon Jaron Geary has been so impressive in every one-on-one contest you see him in. He finds the front position and is strong enough to hold it.
He's having a good patch of his career.
Redpath down to Picken. A dangerous ball. Savage. Suckling might feel he owes them a goal after what happened before. Can't make it stick. McKenzie looked up. The cupboard was pretty much bare. Bruce, numbers against him. He'll do well to get a 50-50 out of this. He can't achieve it.
It's one of those where you actually have to hold the ball and somehow wiggle your body and make it look like you're trying to handle, but as soon as you place it on the ground and hit it away one-handed, umpire knows you've released the ball illegally.
To take the mark.
McRae, they couldn't shut him down. Hunter's left boot, probing again. Saints well placed if they can sort it out with each other, and they very nearly didn't. Well done, Hickey.
Just looking at Jaron Geary, we were talking about his one-on-one contest before. He's had 5 one-on-ones tonight. He's won 3 of them and halved the other 2.
Yeah, going well. It's great to have a big man like Hickey who can pinpoint a pass in this day and age of hectic football coming out of the back half.
Again, the Saints have lost their structure forward of the ball. The Dogs have got loose men everywhere, and that's when Easton Wood's at his best. They need to make sure they can correct and hold 6 forwards, otherwise they won't get through.
Jack Stephen just had the 6 disposals in this quarter. Sends it back high to the wing. Hickey came drifting through. And again, he's proving an important player off the left boot. Down for Bruce, he's in front. Got position, but Roughhead judged it better. And now Boyd, and we're back beyond the wing again. Dogs are outnumbered, even though Redpath had prime position.
That's a good result. Good result for the Bulldogs. He was 1 against 3. So, as you said, a quieter term for Jack Stephen Hutto, but he's still just had 11 more possessions than anybody else out on the ground, sitting on 32 at the moment. Lockie Hunter, the next best, on 21.
He's averaged 28 disposals, 6 clearances and 6 tackles a game. Logically, he's their next captain, certainly by performance. Easton Wood pumps it up again towards Dixon. The spoil was excellent. Weller. Savage sensed a little moment, gave it to Hickey. He did not know where to go next.
Good tackle.
Dunstan is shut down, and the umpire's reading is there was no prior. Frustration for the Dogs. Hickey out for Gresham v. John. He took what was on offer, and it's worked out well. Stephen to half forward, but guess who?
Hold there,
Easton Wood.
Stay behind.
It's a real Indian arm wrestle, David, with the Saints pushing up the extra half forward up to the contest and Wood staying back.
Ling Jong impressive in the air, and the umpire can't decide. 0-0 draw.
I think when the Saints got going in that second term, it was because they held the 6 forwards. They didn't get the intercept marking and the counter-attack off half-back from Wood and Morris at that stage. So Alan Richardson's been asked a big question here.
And this time Ling Jong gets the call he was after. Putting the clamps on Jack Stephen.
Hasn't been caught too often tonight, Jack Stephen. And what the Saints have done is they've stopped the Bulldogs changing direction.
Bit of a standoff there. The handball goes to Biggs. Just nurses the ball out to the wing and finds Lockie Hunter. So just over a minute in this third term remaining. On a tense Saturday night at Etihad, two sides who love playing on the pace of this ground.
They're trying to do that exact same thing now, Jason, with Suckling lined up to try and get the next kick.
And Easton Wood walked around Revolt, and next in his path was Akers. He blows past him, sends it through the middle of the ground. Now it's Boyd. It's an unconvincing kick, though, and it'll be... Oh, shit, had to be interference in the marking contest. Surely not paid, not seen that way. Hunter tries to round it up. Weller might have the last say here. 35 seconds for the Saints. Can they do something off half-back? Montaña's going to give it a crack. Up along the wing, big flight, and well done by Roughhead. Commanding mark. And he's going to send it forward. Just on 20 seconds. That's time enough. Dixon's one-on-one inside the 50. Goes to Boyd. He's got himself clear. And did he hang on to it long enough? No. And then Redpath spun into trouble. Dixon doing what he does best. Snapping at goal. And McRae in a very tight spot.
Oh, he's played on.
And played on to guess who? The perfect man, the bunt.
I thought the siren was going to go with the ball in the air, and he got there. He kicked it hard enough and low enough to get there quickly, because there were 3 seconds on the clock when he marked it, McRae. That has to be a mark, surely.
That was a late siren, Jace.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The late siren. It's cost them a shot at goal here.
I reckon the Saints were playing to the siren too. It looked like Montaña thought the siren was going to go rather than putting the pressure on McRae or getting that ball across the line.
Well, the absence tonight of Stringer, Marcus Bontempelli has taken on a huge role. For his 4th goal of the night, he's blown it. And the Dogs are 5 points down here. 5 points down at Etihad Stadium. What a last quarter awaits you on a Saturday night. Will it be the Saints? Will it be the Dogs? It'll be action-packed.
Well, to that point, if Lib has gone into this centre bounce with Bontempelli and McRae and Boyd, so they've got their A-grade clearance players in there. Let's see if Hickey can utilise his ascendancy.
Dogs and Saints, 1 more quarter to go on an exhausting Saturday night from Etihad, and they spring into action. Kick goes right across the ground for Dixon from Hunter, and well held.
Yeah, Hunter was just able to freewheel off the old wing position, come through outside the square and get the clearance.
Yeah, Dixon, after some hesitation. Look at marking targets on display again. Liberatore, nifty hands, but Hunter down by Armitage. Shares it with Dempster. And a little bit more space for Savage. He just releases at the right time. Weller, who's been a real target for them out of defence. Again, he takes the one-on-one mark and decides to spread by hand this time as Nunes comes up from behind and drives it towards half forward. It's tough going down there for Wright, and the ball is over and out. Trying to restrict the influence of Johannesson at the moment, Nathan Wright.
That was Manuela's 4th contested mark. I mean, for a small man, maybe in height, he's certainly aggressive, and he's been a great pickup for the Saints.
McRae for Hunter. He too decided just to get it out of there. Gilbert playing in front. He couldn't quite see off Redpath. Good persistence, but it didn't matter in the end for the Saints, who find themselves in the clear. Had half forward, and the pass was not ideal.
Bulldogs would love this man to have a big last term.
He's got to find a little bit of form, Jack Billings.
Yeah. He had a leg problem.
Yeah, he's had some issues, but
fight off.
And those sort of kicks can cost you matches.
Geary sends it out for Gilbert as they come again.
Like that one.
I think it hurts even more, Jared, when you think that Billings was pick 3 to the Saints and Bontempelli was pick 4, the very next pick.
You're a cruel man, David.
They're on show tonight.
Hunter just got away from him over the line.
Well, that's 2 kicks inside forward 50 that just haven't hit the target. Both of them weren't under all that much pressure. I think there was a lack of communication for that one from Cam Bruce. Josh Bruce, I should say. He thought it was going wide, but the leading target changed his mind.
Here's Gresham.
What we also saw was a turnover from the defensive 50 from the Bulldogs. Matty Suckling, and it's just something you don't see that often. He's kicking at 50% tonight. I mean, he would normally be a 75% plus kicker.
Well, they've got their 6 forwards intact for you right now, David, which is if you can win the contested ball, part and parcel of beating the Bulldogs.
Absolutely. It's the art of coaching, isn't it, to pull the right rein at the right time. Great challenge head-to-head, Luke Beveridge, Alan Richardson.
Bontempelli has kicked 3 goals, 3. Missed a critical one on the siren at 3/4 time. Driving ball up to the 50, and that's a beautiful mark, and he's been doing it all night. Sean Dempster. Again, the lack of height from the Dogs. As the driving kick comes back out to the wing, and Hunter continues to accumulate. 26 disposal. High again, and this time Picken got himself in front and caused some difficulties for Dempster, who's grabbed him by the arm.
What hopes he got. He's hanging onto the ball with one arm while another player's trying to rip it out of him. His other arm's being held, and he's the meat in the sandwich.
Hands up, hands up!
Revo got it down with direction too, and they're out again as he was there to receive it from Billings, and that's about where it comes to an end.
He's been good since going back, Roughhead.
He has, and shared it with Johannesson and now Boyd. No Dale Morris makes a big difference to the Bulldogs' defence. He's a hard man to cover, particularly when it happens mid-game.
Great kick.
Oh, it was too hot, it seems, for Kobe Stevens.
Real problems here for a Bulldog who's gone down, clutching his right knee. I really hope that's not Clay Smith. Just can't quite see the number at the moment, but he's in real pain. It looks like Redpath, is it?
Yes, it is Redpath. He's been in the wars tonight, Jack Redpath. This looks serious, as Kingy said. So again, they find themselves a man down, but they have possession as they can work the angle. Or Suckling is a teasing kick. He took the bait memory and he took the football and he kicks it for Bruce. Roberts comes with a fist. Bruce tries to steal himself. Weller desperate with a lunge. It gets away from him as we watch Jack Redpath. He looks for the top right corner.
Yeah, he went changing direction, and his legs just give way here, Hunter. I just saw him try to turn. And his knee just collapses.
Oh, that's the one he had problems with earlier, Kingy.
Yeah, it is, and he was in incredible pain. He was punching the turf. Really sad sight.
Bontempelli. Johannesson, as they keep coming. McRae angled the kick. Well, they're 2 men down now, the Dogs, it seems. They trail by 5. Oh. Is that 50?
Probably in the contest, yeah, as you heard the umpire there.
But there's in the contest and there's in the contest as to what you're allowed to do.
They missed a real opportunity, though, the Saints, taking that ball inside forward 50. They had the outnumber. They just had to hit a target.
Kicks to a one-on-one. It was always going to be tough. Could have been a free for some interference. Squirming through, Dunkley did pretty well. Suckling wall one for the team. Going hard, Dunstan the other way. Commitment from both sides is magnificent. Stephen gets mowed down. Bodies going everywhere. They're just little care for themselves. They're just desperate for their team. Billings the next one to wear one. And it's a free kick going the Saints' way.
Well, it's a good attack on the ball from Billings. It was almost a self-inflicted high contest, so always a difficult one, this, Jason.
It was a good pass to play, though. I mean, the high free kicks clearly there, but there were 6 or 7 contests in a row that were just hard.
So Jack Billings just dabs it wide.
Hold, Matty, hold!
As they ponder what's on offer in the forward 50, and the answer is not much. Teaming with Bulldogs who are defending as hard as they can. Bruce flew at the front. Gilbert had a chance. Right to Spatsdov, and that's a free kick.
Yeah, too much exertion.
It's a really difficult one for the defender because it's hard to see exactly when the ball spills out. If you're tackling from behind and you know the player's got possession, which he had at the start, and then he just threw him out, it's difficult on the defender. I feel for him. I understand why the free kick's been paid. It's not easy to know exactly when the ball's come free.
He's kicked 2 goals, 7 in his career, Nathan Wright. He's trying to will this one home. He's made a good fist of it. It's a goal for the Saints. And they lead by 11 at Etihad. They've kicked the vital first of the last.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but I guess it's the overexertion throwing him out of the contest which really forced the umpire's hand. But now the challenge goes back to the Dogs. Boyd will go into the ruck. Redpath off the ground. I mean, you can see there, as he was throwing him, you could see he was looking back and he
that's when he lets go of him, because he can then see the footy.
So it's a small defence. It's a small attack, and it looks like Bontempelli's going to full forward. There's the live ladder. And the Saints in 9th position, looking hungry.
They are hungry, that's for sure. The opportunity could be there. They play North Melbourne next week and could get ever closer, but they've got to close this one out yet. The Dogs won't go away, but the Saints are streaming forward. Stephen able to give it out. He's steadied, and he's missed again with that shot. And he'll have to have that again, Billings.
We saw him in the warm-up, Jason, running in and shooting at goal, and he often just gets that the weight of the body falls off the kick. Something he needs to address, because he does in practice what he does in a match.
Margin is 12 now. Jong gets it through to Dunkley, and that's created from Smith to Wallace. Until then,
great show.
Savage.
And he's hurt himself.
There, Wallace hurt. Quick kick forward. Oh, big fly from Weller again. He's playing like a tall man tonight.
He's in a real bad way, Wallace. It could be as bad as a broken leg, this points.
Oh.
It's a really bad break. It's an unfortunate set of circumstances, but he's in real trouble, boys, and he's in real pain. The game will have to stop here.
This is turning into a disastrous night for the Dogs.
For the stretcher.
Stretcher call.
They'll hold it up now.
Stretcher call. Injured player in the vicinity.
This will be horrible vision. It's a really bad break of the leg here for Mitch Wallace.
Well, he's actually kicked the back of his leg, hasn't he? With his other foot. He's kicked the back of his left leg with his right foot because of the contact from Savage.
It's the Nathan Brown injury of many years ago at the Richmond Football Club. Chris Newman did the same thing. It's a horrible injury.
The foot just went floppy, didn't it?
It did. That is exactly the horrible description that we saw.
There's a serious toll on the Bulldogs tonight, injury-wise.
It's not so much about tonight either, is it? It's about the season.
We don't know what's wrong with Morris, but he's been out and went out early in the game. We've just seen Redpath go off, and now we know there's a serious injury to Wallace.
And our thoughts go out to Mitch Wallace. Obviously, the pain he's in. As Kingy said, there's been some shockers over the years, which we all remember. And let's hope that this one doesn't fit in that category, but it doesn't look good.
Well, sadly, it does look as if it's similar to that Nathan Brown one, where he's snapped his tibia. And unfortunately for Jack Redpath, when you see a person go down in an innocuous fashion on the back of what may well have been the incident that caused the injury half a quarter earlier, and there's only a few things that make the knee unstable.
Well, this is interesting. Luke Beveridge down on the boundary line now. He's managing the troops up close. They're going to require something special. if they're going to get out of this. And it might just be someone like Matty Boyd might be the one they can swing into the middle of the ground, Jerry.
Well, he was a great midfielder, all-Australian midfielder. That's true. But he plays such a prominent role, setting him up in defence. It's whatever they do, they're going to rob a strength to bolster a weakness.
And it's such a shocking story, isn't it, for Mitch Wallace, who has really, in the past 2 years, he took a huge opportunity last year, as I said, lifting himself up in the absence of Tom Liberatore, and really taking on a senior role.
See them holding the bottom of that left leg as still as they possibly can.
And supporters of both sides wishing him all the best, trying to encourage him.
Well, they've pushed Bontempelli to full forward as we take a look at Jake Landsberger, who's been in the AFL football for the best part of 40 years. And he's treated players and their families for many, many years, and he will know just what a savage toll that's going to take on the individual.
He's running out of players to move on that whiteboard. Luke Beveridge.
Jack Redpath is out on the bench as we watch Mitch Wallace and the Bulldogs fans get around him here as he heads down to the rooms for more care. It's hurting every inch of the way, isn't it? Oh, look at that.
The first thing you've got to do, the Bulldogs, is get the ball back because it's in the Saints' hands.
It's a real break in concentration too for either side, so let's see who gets back to the task first as the ball leaks over the line.
Well, Tory Dixon can play full forward. He's been pushed out to a half-forward flank with the emergence of a few others, so he can be the target.
It's a very small forward line.
It is, but they've won with small forward lines many times. In the second quarter, they got back into it, or the third quarter, they got back into it when they went small.
Armitage. And Matthew Boyd doing what he's always done.
What they need to be able to do, Jason, I guess, to get any chance to have a win is get some more forward movement out of this defensive 50. It's not often we've seen them go from one end of the ground to the other and score.
He had to handball there, walking a fine line right now. McRae tries to ease the squeeze. He tossed it up into the air with the handball. John reacted quickly. Dunkley slipped out of the tackle. All rapid ball moving back to the wing. Dunstan did well. Gets it Membry. Well done, Biggs. Little sneaky play, but he's kicked it forward in a rush. And Dempster again, well positioned and setting up some run on the outer side. Montaigne's got Bruce in his sights, but he revised that decision. Held fire.
Hold Tom. Right there.
Back for Akers.
Play on.
Still 12 minutes of playing time remaining.
Oh, they've got 3 coming off the bench here, the Saints. An amazing move.
They're all on offer outside for McKenzie. He took the longest one down the line for Jack Stephen. He's got Ross and Gresham in his pocket. He chooses Gresham. Inside 50, sneaks, doesn't have the shot. Sets it high to full forward. Dogs with sheer weight of numbers get it done. Hunter trying to identify something further afield. Nothing obvious. McRae had to really test the skills to try and get Liberatore. It didn't happen. And now he overruns it. It flicked up, could go anywhere. Daniel. And the boundary line wins. As the agony continues inside the rooms. Revolt came casually in as the third. Down for Bontempelli and then Boyd. Not much happening for the Dogs right now.
This will be an unbelievable effort. They're in real trouble on the bench, down numbers. You can see they're down to one player, and that's Tom Boyd at the moment, the only fit player on the bench, with Morris, Redpath, and of course Mitch Wallace downstairs.
Armitage to Sinclair, to Robertson, to Mavwella. He had a sider, but he saw the flash of Nick Revolt. And Revolt not taking any chances. Happy to see it out. And then someone from the Dogs fans got in his face.
Don't like seeing that.
Back into play. Hickey saw off Roughhead. They're circling again, the Saints. The Dogs respond.
He's got to have a prior match. He has to have a prior. Let him go. Let him go. Coming back.
Hickey, Roughhead.
Play on.
McRae.
So no Boyd on the ground, Jason. I think Luke Beveridge has said we've just got to run this to a victory. Get
Ross.
the numbers back and run it with hands through the back half of the ground.
But you're also asking players to run the ball that will be having no spells at all from the quarter. So it's a massive ask, a big test of their fitness.
Boyd waiting to come back on.
Block! Western Bulldogs!
So now's a chance to go, and if you're going to set up the run, you have to run.
Rough it.
Well, this is a 2-on-1. That's a good start. They've got to win the ball.
Oh, pick and flying high.
She takes a good hang for a little.
Just full commitment to the ball. And the kick just had a little bit too much on it from Biggs. Bruce trying to get down and dirty on that half-back line. Needed Dempster, the coolness again on display. And that has to be 50. Instinctive from Boyd. Just slapped it out of the hand in frustration. And pays the full penalty at 50 metres.
Well, they made the blue initially when they came back to a 3-on-1. They had all the other running Bulldogs going to the other side of the ground.
And compounded it. And now Savage with a big high setup. Hickey's looming large deep in the push and shove, but I thought it might have been a mark paid to Roberts. Not so. And Ross camped under this for an age. Takes the mark as he assesses and thinks, can I do it?
It's such a good kick, this young bloke. It's just about giving licence to have a crack.
Any score makes it a 3-kick game, doesn't it?
Yep.
And he's just, no, umpire says...
Oh, did he say he fumbled it?
Did he fumble? Well, no argument from Revolt, so he must have.
A little bit of a...
Well, Robbo!
Quick throw in. Ling John. Oh, shrugged his way through, and now they can run the off numbers. They swoop off halfback. Easton Wood winding up. The kick could go anywhere. Needed a bit of chaos to go their way. Instead, it's run down by Nunes. Robertson had a quick glance one way, didn't like it. Down the wing he goes. Sets it up for Ross to fly. Easton Wood not going to be denied. That cool.
Got the numbers.
Yeah, inside. Cool kick. Daniel, does he go with the flow? He didn't mark it. He has to now. He can't get away. Ball up.
Well, it was a perfect kick.
It's just one of those where you're running with the flight of it and you're not quite sure what's coming. Hard to tell if you've got space or a pack about to hit you.
Sinclair trying to get it out of the danger. Back up was good from Geary. A little opening perhaps for Smith.
Well, they've got the territory. This is how everybody likes to play. Get it in, keep it in until you
Press
get the
right
goal.
up. They've got to press right up now and hold it in.
Eastonwood's the deepest defender. There's a fast break. He's got it covered.
Kobe Stevens. Can someone find it in the air? Oh,
Jeez, he's good at that.
pick and look likely. Instead, it's the Saints. Nunes. Sinclair off and running. About to be met by Boyd. Both players hard at the footy.
He read it well then, Boyd.
Let's have a look at what happened before in the pocket with Nick Revolt and the Dogs fan.
Just a pat on the shoulder. It was just a pat, so there was nothing bad about that. And I think he thought it was the other bloke who we had a go at, and he said, well, I didn't touch it. Nothing in it, but we don't want to see fans touching players, essentially, do we?
Roberts, good hands as it turned out, got them in and then out of trouble into the space. Johannesson hesitates and did no favours for Caleb Daniels. It was coming, and Armitage made sure there was no way to get out.
And in the end, I think Caleb Daniels said, well, I'm going to get wrapped up, I'll just stand here and cop it. That's the best option is a stoppage.
I think Johannesson looked up, no one was moving for him. And he's got licence to take them on. Somebody's going to have to do something unique for them to get out of this.
Caleb Daniel again found himself under stress and strain, but he's worked it well. Johannesson and now Dunkley tosses it up, deposits at 40 from goal. Saints fall over each other a little. Clay Smith, Jong is threatening. He's threatened once, he's threatening twice with a tackle. The pressure was on, and it continues to build. Wright and Suckling, and it's over again. Family on hand, as you imagine. Tough times for the Wallace family. Now, They can dart away. Right, again off half-back. Has just kicked it and said, go chase after this one. Josh Bruce versus Roberts. A good old-fashioned one-on-one as it hit the floor. Josh Bruce got himself onto the football. Needed the miracle bounce, and it tried. And yes, the old handy point, Jace.
It's a good point. Particularly given that. Oh, slipped over. They're having difficulty scoring, the Bulldogs. In fact, they're having difficulty running.
Yeah, they're just about out of juice. Caleb Daniel, though, the wheels are still spinning here for the Dogs. They are trying their hardest pick, and that's a pretty good-looking kick. Just got away from Boyd. Dunkley, still a chance if he could keep his feet. He couldn't. He got the hands working instead. Smith wore one. Boyd ripped him out of the way, then ran into the brick wall. The in-pass was there. Stevens, Ling Jong, and the Saints steady as she goes. They had two back, minding the goals.
And there's 8 players with their hands on their knees, both clubs involved.
Out of gas completely.
And for the Saints, it matters not because they can just keep possession of the ball.
Nathan Wright just gathered it all up and then went for Revo.
Thanks, Jason.
More seconds tick away as the equation gets harder for the Western Bulldogs. Down 3 men, can you believe, in this last quarter. Just one on the bench. Savage to the wing. To Hickey. They can get inside through Nunes. And now it's downfield. And Mavwella will have the shot. So a horrible night just got worse for Luke Beveridge. As St Kilda have their own casualty. Jack Nunes limping from the ground.
Gee, they've been impressive, the Saints, though, haven't they? The intent, the effort, the commitment to harass and chase and pressure the opposition tonight has been first-rate.
So Mavwella will come close to sealing the deal here for the Saints. He'll know that as he goes back, and he's just leaning back on it a bit and it fades, and the Dogs still have hope. They're going one way, and that is straight down the guts, the old-fashioned way. Tom Boyd tried to impose himself. Suckling worked it out. He's the kick, but it was well read by Gresham.
His kicking has not been good tonight. He's down to 42% by foot, Matty Suckling, and that's just a rarity. You just don't see that for one of the best kicks in the game.
Thanks, Josh, right there.
Wasn't that long ago when you looked at the Saints midfield and Armitage was probably the #1 midfielder in that lineup. Yep. Now there's a whole host of players with all sorts of assets. I mean, Dunstan's had 6 clearances tonight. He's been fantastic. Stephen, we've talked about. Nunes has made some serious inroads over the last 6 weeks. They're on the march.
Starting to see Gresham spend a bit of time in the midfield as well, a very clever player.
And Ross is the one, I suppose, that
done some big jobs for him, hasn't he?
has been in terrific form for the last, well, for a long time now.
Savage sends it as long and as high as he can. The Dogs converge on it and get it down to Hunter. Just escaping the right tackle. Bontempelli doing what he can, but he gives it straight back to Revolt, and he returns the favour. Easton with it. He's pushing the line for 50, but play on the call. Boyd knew what was coming, and unfortunately couldn't do much about it. And Robertson there, and the Saints fans
another
loving
Bulldog
this.
down behind play. Looks like Roughhead, I think.
Hickey's therefore on his own as far as a genuine one-on-one opponent. And the big man might be able to use his height here and creep forward and take a mark, and he does.
Well, he's just been one of the finds of the year, one of the big improvers of the year. He's been at the club for a couple of years now.
One of the reasons he was able to take the mark, Jared, is because this bloke wasn't there to compete.
And in many ways, Jason, the post-match of this game will be about the injuries to the Dogs, but in some ways it's going to be unfair on the Saints because they have played a magnificent 4 quarters of footy.
Yeah, and we can't take anything away from them. We shouldn't underestimate the effort from St Kilda. And maybe they are just putting a charge that is going to deliver a finals appearance together.
And Hickey's trying to will that one, but he's clipped the post. And theoretically, the Dogs are still alive here.
Hickey got 10 votes off the coaches last week up against the favourite for the All-Australian ruck spot.
Here we go. Bontempelli, Easton Wood. He'll need Malcolm Blight behind him to kick a goal with that one.
That's just a really strange kick.
It was, because he had
someone on the far left.
And he looked as if he saw him.
and then it was a nondescript kick that was never going to achieve anything.
No, they're all learning experiences, and I'm sure they, despite their injuries and the disappointment of the loss, they'll go back and say to Eastonwood, it's 3 times have gone forward in this last quarter and just bang the ball long. It's got to go somewhere else, even if it goes sideways.
Well, that's good news that he's staying out there. This is him in the marking contest. He gets a knee.
Right in the buttock.
In the left hip buttock, yeah. Takes a while to recover.
He's worked hard tonight, Roughhead, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Picking in danger. St Kilda.
They've all had to take on extra workloads tonight with the injuries. The Saints, as we said, have been terrific. The Dogs, after St Kilda have started the game well, the Dogs really got on top and looked as if they were going to be the better team, but Saints in the second term are outstanding. Now, this is what's to come for the Western Bulldogs. A big Friday night next week.
And they're going to be missing a few players over those next 2 to 3 weeks, if not longer.
Looks like the Cats have got home against the Adelaide Crows down there, so they'll be feeling pretty good about themselves. So that's a huge challenge now for the Bulldogs with what lies ahead. Eastonwood still giving it all, flying through the air. Ross, and Mackenzie's kick is wiped out by Smith.
Your man, Jack Stephen, is just down near King. You can just give him a bit of a hurry up. He's on 39. He needs to crack 40 again.
Well, he's done it twice this year. This will be the 8th time he's had 30 disposals plus in 2016 in some sort of season.
Suckling for Ling Jong. Boyd. And Geary knew what was coming there. McRae from the pocket. Dixon. Ling Jong again. Just couldn't quite find enough time or space.
Well, and that's been the story of the night, Hutto. That's a commitment for 4 quarters to not allow the Bulldogs players to breathe once they win possession of the footy. Well, I think Alan Richardson will rate this win probably as good as anything he's seen for the Saints. And what it does do, I mean, this will be 5 wins in 6 weeks for the Saints. That's serious momentum.
Their one loss was a horror up on the Gold Coast, but at home have been unbelievable. Suckling curls it into the pocket. Early and unrealistic, according to the umpire for Tom Boyd.
Hasn't been able to make an impression tonight, Tom Boyd. They desperately need him to start having a presence in that attacking 50.
Hickey to half-back. Bruce, Roughhead. Snatched that one out of the air.
Well, they'll get pumped back in, but Hickey's down there waiting for it.
They fly again. And
just on Tom Boyd, I thought he was stiff in that earlier quarter.
so the siren sounds. And watch out, sides in the 8, because the Saints are coming. They win by 15 points. It's a great victory for the Saints. An exhausting and, in the end, a devastating night as far as the Bulldogs are concerned, with serious injury count, which could well affect them and their charge for the season. But the victors were superb.
Yeah, great victory led by Jack Stephen through the middle of the ground. I thought Sean Dempster also in defence continued to show why he's regarded so highly right across the competition. Their midfield took it right up to the Dogs and took away their advantage with a huge win in the first half in the contested ball as Nunes and the likes of Maverick Weller and Luke Dunstan, Armitage, Tom Hickey, the ruckman had another fine game. It's a win to savour. And David King's with one of the stars.
Hard to continue this campaign for all Australian, mate. I don't keep talking to you after every game, but you're in great form yourself, but the team come with you tonight.
Yeah, definitely. The team's really building. We're getting a bit more consistent, and yeah, full credit to the boys. They dug in and had a full-court effort.
Your 9th win for the year. We've talked about your pressure game, that being your major asset, but there's other parts to your game that are coming to the show now, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think all our younger boys are getting a lot more confident, and they're taking the game on and playing how we know they can play. They're training it, and now they're bringing it out in games, so it's really important for us.
Were you surprised how much space you got tonight? You didn't really seem to have a hard tag for the first half.
Nah, I ran out of gas at the end. I was a bit tired, but the boys did really well, so it's good.
It's great for the Saints fans. They've been rewarded with some good form in the last month.
Yeah, definitely. We're trying to build our membership, and hopefully they can see a future in us and start signing up, so it's good.
Go and get some oxygen in, mate.
Thanks, mate. Cheers, mate.
Tough night for that man in more ways than one, Luke Beveridge. It's the challenges of coaching, isn't it?
Well, they're going to have to count the cost after this. It's a loss that drops them out of the top 4, but can they now regroup and make some sort of charge to try and hit September with a bit of momentum, Jared?
Well, it's always difficult. Wallace is a huge loss, we know, but they are well served in the midfield department. Redpath, we don't know what that injury could be.
Or Morris.
Morris the same. It could be anything, so we'll leave it to the doctors, but they can ill afford to lose another big bloke if Redpath is out for a season ender. David King back on the ground.
You play a lot of footy, Rube, but this is exciting, isn't it? I know that we keep talking about this club being in a different phase, but 9 and 8, it's a really good position right now.
Yeah, it's probably the first time we've been in front of the ledger in a while, yeah, anyway. But, it's exciting. I think our fans will be really encouraged by the way we're playing, the style. We've done a lot of work on our defence, and to give the Bulldogs to 60 points tonight is a really good effort.
Really good spread, though. That midfield looks like it's growing every week. We talk about Jack Stephen a lot, but there's 4 or 5 names that are really popping up now.
Yeah, I think that's the nature of a rebuild, is you just got to get games into the young players, and then they take a little bit of time, but I think we're starting to see some of the fruits of that now. I mean, our challenge, obviously, is to find that real consistency amongst our younger players, and the only way you get that is by continuity in playing. So the more they play, the better they'll get.
Still something for the old fella, though. Little 4-goal bag tonight, 3 goals in the second quarter. It was exciting.
Yeah, I got on the end of a few nice ones tonight. It was good.
No, your Folkestone was great. How's the body? You're in the wars tonight.
Hanging in there, mate. You get to this stage of the year, and it's all about recovery and doing what you can to stay on the park. So the young fellas keep the old fellas invigorated.
Go and sing the song, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Go on now.
What an amazing player running through fatigue. Great example. The Western Bulldogs, the challenges confront them now, Jason.
Well, they just had a little heart-to-heart out there as a group. They understand that they didn't get the job done tonight, but things are only going to get tougher in the coming weeks. It's the Cats next Friday night down at St Stadium. And if they don't win some of these games, they've got, I think, 2 or 3 tough ones coming. If they don't win a couple of them, they'll find themselves slipping right away from the top 4, and that's where they need to be come September.
And, of course, I think foremost in their mind will be the care and concern for their teammate, Mitch Wallace, as they get around him in the rooms and just wish him the best. But contrast for the Saints, who head down full of joy. Another win on a Saturday night. They've got an incredible record here at Etihad Stadium. Over 30 of the last 35 matches they've played in coming in tonight that either won or drawn. And they've done it again tonight. And that's 7 in a row here at Etihad Stadium this year. And their chances, their slight chances,
as good as anyone's outside the 800.
Well, they play North next week, so if they can...
That's the best part of the draw for them.
Yep. If they can pull that one off, they really will be in the mix. But for now, they can sing the song.